Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. As we know, season 15 of Drag Race has had its fair share of drama so far on the season, not just on screen but off screen too. I did a video about this a while back with some of the drama from season 15 and I'm back with another video. So here are 5 more new dramas that you may not know about from season 15 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Today we're going to be talking about Salina EsTitties calling out Ross Matthews, Mistress denying rumours from Willam and Alaska's podcast, and the continued drama of Aja versus Anetra. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. Please note that because we're going to be talking about the outcome of certain episodes of Drag Race, there is a spoiler alert in place for this video. Salina EsTitties called out Ross Matthews. So, in last week's episode, Salina EsTitties was eliminated from season 15, and you may remember that there was a tense moment on the runway when everyone was asked by RuPaul who should go home tonight and why, and several people said Salina's name. Well, Salina recently appeared at a viewing party, and she appeared to have some strong opinions about this, and she also spilled some unaired tea. Salina said that at first, when RuPaul asked that question, Anetra said, quote, "I can't do this," and didn't want to give an answer, but RuPaul forced her to. And Anetra was apparently crying and then eventually said Salina's name. But this wasn't aired, and in the episode, they made it look like Anetra said Salina's name straight away, but according to Salina, this was not actually the case. And at the same viewing party, Salina called out Judge Ross Matthews on stage for some of the critiques Ross had made about her. In last week's episode, the runway category was Everybody Say Glove, and Ross's critique to Salina was, quote, "There's so much going on the jumpsuit, I just realised you even had gloves on, but you know, maybe it would have been a more bold move to do some black with that and really service the gloves." And it appears that Salina was not very impressed at that critique. And on stage at the viewing party, Salina called Ross Matthews out and said, quote, "Ross Matthews, you can eat my ass, bleep. What the F does he know about fashion? I should have been wearing a black bodysuit. Look at what the F you're wearing, you sequin sweater jacket ass little B." But it appears that Salina and Ross seem to have reconciled since then. In a Twitter post from the 22nd of March, Salina said that she had had a great conversation with Ross and they had hashed out their issues. And Salina said she apologised for her actions and admitted that she was in her feelings and misstepped. Ross then commented on Salina's post saying, "Love you always." And this is not the first time that Salina has called out the judges. In episode 11, which was the stand-up comedy challenge, the runway category was Rip Her to Shreds, and it appears that there was a bit of backstage tea about Salina's outfit. On the runway, Salina mentioned that this outfit was the story of a woman escaping for a better life, and Salina talked about her mother crossing the border into the US. But later on social media, Salina posted saying that this outfit was dedicated to her mother, who sadly passed away from cancer. It was about how her mother came from Honduras to the US and crossed the border. But Salina implied as though she was told by production not to talk about certain aspects of her story. In the post, Salina said, quote, "There's a lot of controversy and hush-hush over trigger words such as border control or immigration, which apparently was the reason I was urged, brackets warned, not to talk about this on the runway. But the fact is that it's the reality of a lot of Latin American people and families." However, Salina later changed the post on Instagram and removed the part where she said, quote, "I was urged, brackets warned, not to talk about this on the runway." But the full original post is still on her Facebook page. And some people have speculated that Salina may have been told to remove that part by World of Wonder because it paints them in a slightly negative light. However, this has not been confirmed. And Salina also once criticised the judges in a response to a comment on Instagram. Someone commented on one of Salina's posts saying, quote, "The judges suck this season, we love you." And Salina responded saying, quote, "Literally the worst, brackets not the guest judges, the puppets." Marcia versus Anetra meme. You may remember that in last week's comedy challenge, Marcia and Anetra were in the bottom and ended up lip-syncing against each other, with Marcia ultimately being eliminated. And the lip-sync was well received by the audience. Shortly after the episode aired, a Twitter user created a post which seemed to compare Marcia and Anetra and said that Marcia was things such as, quote, pretty, trained dancer and young, whereas they said Anetra was, quote, fugly, crusty moves and old and decaying. Another Twitter user then called them out and said that they were not a real fan of Marcia's if they were acting this way. And the user responded saying, quote, I'm a real fan fighting for her when she's facing false slander, brackets, people saying Anetra won the lip sync, and I know she would appreciate it. But then Marcia herself responded and said, quote, I don't appreciate this at all. My friendship with Anetra means much more to me than this TV show. If you wouldn't want someone saying this about you, you shouldn't say it about someone else. Delete this immediately. The post was not deleted, however, and is still on Twitter. But this post went viral and other people started copying it and turning it into a jokey meme. And this includes Canada's Drag Race Season 3 contestant Miss Fiercelicious, as well as YouTuber Tyler Oakley. And Season 14 contestant Cornbread also made a similar meme comparing herself and Season 4 contestant Madame LaQueer because they both had ankle injuries on Drag Race. And just as a side note, Cornbread implied recently that she and Madame LaQueer might have a beef, which is perhaps why Cornbread tweeted this meme. On the podcast Sloppy Seconds with Meatball and Big Dipper, Cornbread was asked if she would ever collab with Madame LaQueer because she was the original ankle injury queen. And Cornbread said, quote, girl, she don't like me, I don't like her either. And then Cornbread implied as though one time a Madame LaQueer thought that Cornbread had been stealing her tips and her, quote, ratty wigs. But anyway, this post about Marcia versus Anetra has become a bit of a joke now within the Drag Race community on social media, and people are still posting things about it. Twitter hack. Social media is a very important tool for the Drag Race contestants, and Twitter is often the platform where the queens voice their real opinions about things, and many of the queens have built up a large audience. But several queens have also had their Twitter accounts hacked, presumably so that the hackers can leverage the queen's large audience. Several weeks ago, Salina EsTitties' Twitter account posted saying that she had 10 MacBooks for sale and that she had personally signed them, and there were several tweets about it. And people weren't sure at the beginning if Salina's Twitter had been hacked or not, but Salina later confirmed that she was indeed hacked and those posts were then deleted. And after that, people started making jokes about it and saying that they had received their MacBooks from Salina. And it appears that Season 13 contestant Gottmik also recently had her Twitter account hacked in the same way. And people weren't sure if Gottmik was just making a joke about it, but Gottmik posted on an Instagram story confirming that her Twitter had indeed been hacked. And the next day, Gottmik tweeted saying that she had got her Twitter account back and joked that she was not selling any discount electronics. So it appears as though this Twitter hack has now affected 2 different Drag Race queens, and we'll have to see if any other queens also get hacked. Mistress denies comments made by Willam and Alaska. As you may remember, in episode 10 of season 15, the challenge was that the queens had to interview different celebrities, and the runway theme was A Night of 1,000 Beyoncés, and Mistress Isabel Brooks wore an outfit representing Destiny's Child. I did talk about this in my Roscoe's recap, which I'll link to in the description, but that week, Malaysia and Salina were in the bottom, and Malaysia went home. But many people thought that Mistress would have been in the bottom. Malaysia was then a guest at Roscoe's that week, and she implied as though in Untucked, Mistress had a quote fit, which was unaired, and apparently Mistress said that because she was in a gown, she wouldn't be able to move much in the lip sync, and told Malaysia that she would have to dance around her. And Malaysia implied as though the producers caught wind of this conversation and wanted to protect Mistress, so they didn't put her in the bottom. Anyway, after that episode, Willam and Alaska talked about this on their podcast Race Chaser, and Willam said that she had heard that Mistress threw a giant tantrum. Alaska then said that from the intel they had received, Salina should not have been in the bottom, and Malaysia and Mistress should have been in the bottom and lip-synced, but the producers wanted to save Mistress. And Mistress has since come out and denied these claims. In a Twitter post, Mistress said that it wasn't true and that people were believing rumours from people who weren't in the room, which people took to be a reference to Willam and Alaska. Mistress also said that the contestants do not call the shots and denied that the show would have saved her because the lip sync would have made good TV. And Mistress made the point that Malaysia had said herself during the Roscoe's viewing party that she felt that it was her time to go and she knew that she was going to be eliminated that week. Mistress also said that people can stop tagging Willam in her tweets. And this may be because Willam responded to Mistress's original tweet explaining that Willam had heard this from multiple girls, which Mistress replied to by saying, quote, "You have a blessed day." But it appears as though Willam reached out to Mistress by phone and they talked about this, because Mistress later tweeted saying, "I love a bee who will pick up that phone and be direct. You are a key, Willam, can't wait till we cut up in real life." Aja versus Anetra drama continued. I did talk about this topic in one of my Roscoe's recap videos, which I'll link to in the description, so make sure you check this out for the full story. But just in case you don't know, a while back, Season 9 and All Stars 3 contestant Aja previously criticised Anetra's voguing on Drag Race and called Anetra's moves, quote, crusty, and implied that Anetra was doing it wrong. And after that, people accused Aja of trying to gatekeep voguing, and this has become a widely talked about issue in the Drag Race community. And Anetra then apparently unfollowed Aja on social media. However, what you may not know is that this drama has continued since then. Back when Aja originally criticised Anetra, Aja questioned whether Anetra had a background in ballroom/Vogue, and Aja even said that she had reached out to Anetra to ask. And recently, a Twitter user said that Aja should have reached out to Anetra, and Aja shared a screenshot of the message she sent Anetra back in January asking, "Hey baby, congrats on your win last night, do you have a ballroom history?" Then, in the comments to that post, Twitter users said that Aja had appropriated Japanese culture during her All Stars 3 talent show, and said that Aja shouldn't accuse people of appropriating ballroom culture. And Aja replied to this talking about appropriation and saying that the conversation had moved on to about how crunchy the fans act. And this led to a lot more critical comments of Aja in the replies, and Aja responded to some of them. However, in the end, Aja tweeted saying that she was going to, quote, shut up and let people, quote, live in ignorance, and said that she had spoken her opinion. Aja also made the point that Drag Race fans have tantrums about people's opinions. And Aja then replied to a Twitter user who implied that Aja was jealous of Anetra because Aja didn't get as far in the competition as Anetra has. Aja then replied to this and said that she, quote, literally doesn't give an F about Drag Race, and said that she's in the best place I've ever been in my life. And Aja then clarified what she meant about Drag Race and said, "Just to be clear, when I say that I don't care, I'm talking in reference to the placement that I had on the show because it doesn't matter to me, especially since I was able to make so much with it after the show. I do appreciate the show a lot." But Aja doesn't seem to have tweeted any more about the situation since then. So there you go, there were 5 more new dramas from season 15 of RuPaul's Drag Race. And if you'd like early access to my videos before they go on YouTube, as well as shoutouts in my videos, priorities when submitting interview questions, and also getting access to my archived videos, you can join my Patreon for just a few dollars a month to unlock these incredible benefits. I'll put a link in the description. And I'd just like to say thank you to all of my incredible Patreon members. You are all amazing and your support really does make a huge difference to my channel, so thank you all so much. Did you know about these dramas already? And what have been your thoughts on season 15 so far? Let me know in the comments. Please make sure you like, comment and share this video as it really helps support my channel. And of course, please make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date about new uploads. Thanks for watching and I hope you'll join me again in future videos. Thank you, bye!